All right, so we are getting ready to start our live interview with the Cryss Simmons of Lamb and Honey. I'm getting ready to go live on Instagram. Those of you who are going to be able to see on the replay, remember to follow us on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe at Rich Black Woman TV. And those of you who do not know me very well, you will in just a minute. I'm used to taking our interviewees off screen while I do the initial part. But what I've been missing and what y'all been missing that catches me in the corner of my eye is the facial expressions from our guests. And so, Cryss, before even people get to see you on Instagram, I'm just going to tell you while you're backstage, feel free to react, snap, clap. You're not interrupting anything. We are very raw, very real, and we want to keep it that way. So those of you who are joining on Instagram, hey now, if you are new to Rich Black Woman TV in any fashion, my name is Felicia Kelly, and I am a speaker, influencer, a strategist. I got my start in coaching in the auto industry. My job was to facilitate trainings for salespeople. My job was to advise auto dealers on what to do with their departments and how to run their auto groups. And so I then transitioned to a full-time coach. I was a money coach, a business coach, and primarily a sales strategist. I've helped women go from making $9,000 a month to $25,000 a month. I've helped women go from making $25,000 a month to $25,000 weeks, upwards of $200K a month. And so what I have learned in that time was that it ain't all about the money, sis.
That's right.
On the flip side of it, we have been in a space where we get the money, we get the bag. You're good. We get the money, we get the bag, and we don't realize actually we not good. We don't realize actually we crying every night. Actually, this team is more stressed than help. See, a lot of y'all hiring teams because you've been told to hire teams, and running a company stresses you to the high heavens. Being in charge of other people, you didn't sign up for that. And you realize, one, you're not a good leader. You realize, two, you need more than some of these conferences and these brunches. You realize you need people who understand what it's like when you share your vision with people and then they step on it or they attempt to take it or things don't go the way you want. What happens when you are on the path of purpose and maybe your relationships don't work out well? What happens on the path of purpose when you realize, oh, I've actually not known how to love myself. I've actually not known how to receive love from people. I don't even know what self-care is. See, I think because I have my nails done and my brows are done and my hair is done and the locks never have a hair out of place, that I was self-caring. When really I was being more selfless than necessary. I was being selfless to the point that was dangerous for myself and my family. I was being selfless to the point where I was not taking care of me first. And what I had to learn was what I like to call the rich method for living. The rich method for living incorporates 4 pieces. It incorporates your relationships. It also incorporates what is impacting your life, what impact you're making in your life as well, and all of the things that come together to create impact. Because if you're not being positively impacted by the things in your life, it is going to be a challenge for you to do the same in the world. And then we talk about cultivation. How do we maintain what we're building? How do we cultivate in a way that allows us to produce more fruit? What happens when you produce fruit and you create winners and you create success? And then all of a sudden, it's like you're disconnected from the very fruit that you created. What happens then? So there's cultivation when it's time to maybe reinvent yourself, when it's time to think of something new, when it's time to do something new. Cultivation is saying, I need to get a little more educated in this area. Cultivation is saying, maybe I dropped the ball here because I just didn't know enough. See, a lot of y'all think that you're not called to something when you simply haven't cultivated. You just don't know enough, yes, sis. You just don't know enough. And then finally, the last segment of the rich method for living is a harvest. That H is for harvest, because whatever relationships, whatever impact, whatever spaces you cultivate, you cannot receive a harvest outside of what you cultivated. So if you're playing sweet potatoes, don't expect squash. And so today, in a little bit, we're going to bring up Cryss Simmons. She is the creator of a term that has just blown me out of my seat. She calls it soul care. And she said, there's no way to have self-care without soul care. And I was locked in. Now, the other thing that we have to get into when we are talking about the rich method for living is today we got to tag in on the relationship hierarchy. Everybody is not assigned to me. There are 4 types of relationships. First and foremost is God, your relationship with God. Your number one human relationship is yourself, your relationship with yourself. And once you've got your relationship with yourself together, then you can move over to the relationships that are assigned to you. Black women often struggle with overextending themselves. We want to be all the things to all the people. And y'all haven't seen, me and Cryss were talking behind the scenes, and she was talking about being every woman. Whitney Houston lied to y'all and died trying. God rest her soul. Overextending herself. Always the one to take care of everybody. Everybody riding on her money and her talent and her life since the time she was a child. Of course she had a drug problem. She was going to have some type of problem, but it manifested itself in drugs. I mean, and Black women often struggle with overextending themselves. We take on too many projects, too many problems that ain't ours, and too many responsibilities that God didn't give us. Now, many times the things we take on aren't even ours to even be involved with, let alone take. Quick story, I watch ID channel a lot. And I used to wonder, why do I like ID channel so much? Am I crazy? And I realized, one, you're a strategist. Strategists like to see what the problem is, how it got so bad. How did we get here? How could it have been avoided? Why is this happening? Right? As a prophetic strategist, my question is always, could this have been avoided? And 99.9 is yes. I was watching ID channel last night. A young man saw two gentlemen, for lack of better terms, selling drugs in his neighborhood, down the street at the park. Now, he doesn't have kids. It was nowhere around his house. He just happened to be over there. He decides to walk up to the vehicle and check them, because that ain't gonna be happening in my neighborhood. Was he right? Yes. Was he in the right? No. See, there's a difference between being right and being in the right, because what happened later on is that somebody else that he was trying to fix in the neighborhood, who had a massive drug problem, asked him to take him somewhere. He's with his girlfriend. They're supposed to be on a date. The answer should have been no. His girlfriend asked him to say no. He said yes anyway. This gentleman with extreme drug problem got in his vehicle. They went down to the house where he wanted to make a purchase. And he was like, man, just hurry up. Mind you, guess who pulls up? The same two dudes with the issue. And so he gets in, does his business with them, has an altercation with them that the guy who just wants to do the right thing has no clue is happening. He sees them now beating up this individual, and he says he's going to go break it up. His girlfriend says, no, baby, don't go. That's not your business. That gentleman is dead today. He was murdered, minding somebody else's business. He died in his girlfriend's arms. I said that to say, yes, that is an extreme case. Yes, that is another Black man down in the streets. But had he mind his business, he'd be at home today. Do we stay in relationships with friends, family, romantic partners, things involving our neighborhood? I get the desire we have to impact, to fix our neighborhoods, to do all of these things for other people, to help our families. But you have to ask yourself, is this my assignment? Just because you want to don't mean you're supposed to. A rich Black woman's key to success when it comes to assigning relationships is to focus on the relationships that are assigned to you in this season. So you got to ask yourself three things. Number one, who are they really? And I don't mean who they was last year, because last year they could have loved you, and this year be different. Last year they could have been hating on you, and this year they can be convicted and be like, you know what? My bad. You actually really dope. So who are they really? Not who they are to you, not who are they in my mind, not how does my rose-colored glasses allow me to see them? Who are they really? Not how I see them through my trauma. Who are they really? Number two, what is their purpose in my life in this season, and vice versa? What is my purpose in my life? What is their purpose in my life in this season? And number three is vice versa. What is my purpose in their life? Here is what I want you to know. Keeping people attached to you after God has released them from being assigned to you is a recipe for disaster and sabotage. So when we talk about soul care, understand that your soul might not align with your feelings. Your soul might not align with your desire at all times, because oftentimes your soul and your spirit and your discernment is trying to say, hey, you. Hello, you. You're like, but I feel, but I won't, but I like, but I. Patrick said your soul don't care about your feelings. And might I add vice versa. Okay? And for the churchy folks who love to talk about the flesh all the time, let's maybe think about this flesh right here. Think about how much trouble this heart gets you into before you worry about the rest of it. we're going to bring on the Miss, this lady of Lamb and Honey, Cryss Simmons. And I want to let y'all know up front, it's CRYSS. Don't give me CR, don't give me CHR. It's CRYSS. So that way, when she drop these gems and she tell y'all how soul care is the best self-care and y'all flooding her inbox, spell her name right. I know we talked about a bit behind the scenes, but for those who don't know you, can you tell them who you are, please, ma'am?
First and foremost, I'm a daughter of the Most High. That's who I am first and foremost. Okay. Second of all, I'm the co-pilot to my business, Lamb and Honey. Okay. Yeah. And I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. I am all the things. I am everything that I am developing into all the things God wants me to be. It's taking me, and it's the development process is an ever evolving thing. And I am super, super excited to walk that journey out, even though it doesn't always feel good. Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of the thing, I put this rubber band on because I wanted to show y'all something. As you was talking earlier about the whole flesh thing, right? And it was like, listen, I want to remind people, it's like my bishop used to tell us, he said, if you can feel that, you're still alive. You need to die. You need to die. You need to die. And if you can feel that, you're doing too much. You didn't die yet. You're still alive. You are literally walking dead and you didn't die yet. So keep it moving. Keep working. Because these rubber bands remind you that you ain't died yet. And too many things are still bothering you in this world. So die, y'all. It's time to die.
Before we even get into what it means to be a rich Black woman and talking about soul care and assigned relationships, can you tell us what soul care is? Because you sent me. When you said, yeah, I'm coming on Rich Black Woman TV, the best form of self-care is soul care, I had to sit back. I had to send an email out.
Ooh,
I had to send an email out and say, y'all, I need to let y'all know that the new YouTube video is out. But this lady that's coming next week, baby, somebody better be ready. Because let me tell y'all what this lady told me. And so can you tell us what is soul care? Because everybody can imagine what it is or think they know what it is, but what type of self-care is soul care?
Soul care is the opportunity to love and elevate the inner you. Like, you have to be able to understand that what's in you is yours. Can't nobody take it from you. We've been on this thing. We was like, only thing that needs to be done is to be either redeveloped. It needs to be recalibrated. It needs to be cultivated, pruned to get to a place so you can do the things. It's like, you have all these wonderful, beautiful plants behind you, right? So, there are moments when if they don't get enough sun, if they don't get enough water, they're going to turn brown. They're going to wither away. So if you aren't intentionally taking a moment to go ahead and say, okay, well, I'm going to prune this off here and I'm going to make this better. And I'm going to take a moment to step away to do this so I can get this together. Because what's going to happen to that plant if it doesn't? It's either it's going to begin to infect all the other leaves and branches it's connected to. So you have to get to a position where you don't want to be the one who caused all the stuff. Like, don't be Jonah going to Nineveh. Don't want to go to Nineveh. Right? So, God to be like, hey, bro,
I feel that heavy because I'm a planter. I love plants. Over the years, I've learned how to plant. And I'm sure I got the bug from my mom and my grandma. So I have an app on my phone. And let's be clear, rich Black woman or no, I don't like paying for apps. I pay $19.99 a year for this app. So it's hitting. It's important to me. The plant, if something is wrong, I can tap my phone, open up the camera, take 3 photos from different angles, and it will diagnose the problem and tell me how to handle it. Now, life can be that simple for us, but we don't like the spotlight piece. We don't like that showing piece. We don't like that piece where you got to click and see it from different angles and look up underneath that hood and say, oh, this what's wrong with you. You're dealing with rejection. This was wrong with you. You dealing with offense. This was wrong with you. You got traumas from your daddy issue. It's just showing up in how you talk to your clients. It's just showing up in how you talk to your husband. But this is the issue. We love Band-Aids, right? Can we talk about how soul care has transformed your life as it stands today?
When I was, I'm gonna say, let's talk about my last 2 decades. Let's talk about my last 2 decades. My nickname was the bucking horse. You couldn't tell me nothing. Was not receiving anything. There was no correction for me. There was no me wanting to listen, to hear. It was whatever I said was right, and I didn't care how you felt about it. I was an alley cat. I was always ready to defend myself. When it came to the fight or flight syndrome, I was always ready to throw down. It was always a thing. I wanted to be her, because you was not gonna punk me. You was not about to make me feel like I couldn't handle life, or just because I wasn't where you are, that you was worse than me. I'm like, and I would tell people all the time, I'm like, you put on pants one leg at a time. You bleed every month like I do. What we talking about? I'm not doing this with you. What do you want? But if you want to come for me, I feel sorry for you. And I was that person for a very long time. I was crazy self-aware. You know, I knew my stuff. I was like, yeah, I know I'm this way. I'm absolutely this way, and I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
But that's the lie.
That was the problem.
That's the lie. Like, you're not okay with it. It's a defense mechanism so you can keep yourself from being in a position of hurt. So you can keep yourself from being open to what is really waiting for you on the other side. But if you don't open up the box or decide to walk down this dark, rocky road panel, up climb this mountain so you can get to the next, you're never, ever going to be. That's not life. Life is going to have some hills and valleys. And if you're not willing to go up the hill to get to the top, when are you going to be able to take a moment to breathe and be like, I made it?
That's good. That's good. That's so good. I really think women got to zone in there, because sometimes we think this is a until I get where I'm going issue. And I've been speaking a lot this year. One of the speaking engagements that I had recently, I was talking to university students between the ages of 19 and 22. And the same conversations that I have in my Rich Black Woman sessions, the same conversations I have at my events, the same conversations that I have in one-on-ones, I was having with these teenagers and 20 and 22-year-olds. So what happens is we identify, right? We're not the first person to tell you that what you're dealing with. I'm not the first person to bring it to them, but they carry this issue for 20 plus years, because we learn to identify with our pain. And so what we then go and do is, well, we start a business. We want to be a boss because we've been bossed around. So we want to be a boss now. Right? And we start to pour all of this energy into, well, I'm just going to build a business. I'm just going to build a business. This is what I've been seeing the past couple of years. And they make this money and their marriage still in shambles. They make this money and they still won't be honest with their therapist. They done been through 4, 5, 6 therapists.
Because you're a penny with a hole in it. Like, you are completely invaluable at that point. Like, okay, great. I am so glad that you have made dollars hand over fist. I am so glad that you can manage a team. But guess what? Your team don't like you.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Your team is like, I'm so glad I can make great money here, but I do not like going to work because Shanika done cut up. Or maybe her name is Tammy. I don't know. But I used to manage a team too, and my team didn't like me either. So I know it's true for other people. I know it's true for other people.
That's heavy. That's heavy. How do you find the productive space between not necessarily worrying about if they like you, right? Like you, that type of like you, like we like to identify with, like, versus making sure they enjoy working here. See, because we got to be productive. We got to get it done. But a lot of times we're not likable. And on one hand, we think it's okay. But on the other hand, we don't. How do we find that space where we came here to do a job, but also it's enjoyable. For women like me who've had big teams and have downsized the team and have said, okay, let's look at the company, let's look at me, let's just look at everything.
Yeah. So I really, it got to a point for me when I found a moment to check myself, that I had to do the mirror work. I had to understand. And then it got to a point where I went to my team and we had a meeting. And I was like, we're going to do a survey and it's going to be anonymous because I want to know, keep it 100. And we're going to talk about it. And what is it, some of the things you would like to see different? What are some of the things I'm going to ask the hard questions and I'm going to take that and I'm going to see what it is. And then you'll be able to see things because I want to know where you are. And if this is going to help build morale amongst the team because you can feel like you can voice yourself without being, I want you to be anonymous. I don't want to put you on display, but I want to know how you feel. Share with us how you feel, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about it. And then it worked though. People felt seen.
Yeah.
They felt heard. They felt valued. And that was the most important thing. It was like, I want you to feel valued. If we're gonna be together, I gotta be with you 40 plus hours a week. And in real talk, you don't have to like me, but you won't never say that I was trying to do a thing to you maliciously on purpose. That's never, ever my intention. It's never my heart space to want to intentionally hurt you. So if I gotta be with you, if we gotta be here, if we gotta do Christmas functions and your husband and your kids is coming to church picnics, to company picnics.
They might do come to the church picnic. You can tell we know where you be at.
Yes, that's where I be at. And I'm a preacher's kid, so I don't know. Yeah. That's my life. So y'all can come to the church picnic. We'll let you know when it is.
Yeah, that's so good. I think it's wild because one of the things that I think we don't necessarily want to address that I've talked about in private discussions is that when people come and work for Black women, we automatically expect a kumbaya experience.
It's the, hey, sister friend, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, no, right. And sometimes, because I have to go to the flip side of that, I've seen myself in this space when I was an employee. Sometimes we expect too much from that Black woman just because she's Black. You would never expect that from Mr. Such and Such, who is running his white-owned company, right? So we go in with our hearts saying, someone to love me now.
No.
And that ain't his job. No. And so I had to ask myself, right? I had to ask myself, Felicia, why are you what does this woman owe you? What does she owe you? I'm sure she worked hard to get here just like you did. Why are you expecting something from her? Girl, you just got here.
That.
Oh, go there. You look like you got something to say. I want to hear. Go there, girl.
Like, it's because I can relate to it. Just 5 years ago, that was me. I was working at an HBCU and my boss was a very amazing, talented doctor, right? And she was a jerk. Like, I'm not gonna lie, she was a jerk, but she knew her stuff. You couldn't tell her nothing. And all the other Black female executives who were also doctors were the same way. Like, they were, not only were they catty to us, but they were catty amongst themselves. Like, it was the most pettiest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I went to an HBCU, so I was like, well, welcome home, because this is what we do. Yeah. I was like, this sucks. This is like, you feel comfortable kind of sort of because you get that's what it is, right? But at the same time, you're like, this is so unprofessional.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad it's just us in here, because if Mr. Smith was in here, it would be a problem.
Yeah.
I would be so embarrassed. I would be doing this.
It's interesting because I move in so many spaces with women who don't operate like this. And I'm able to connect with Black women and continue to disrupt the narrative that Black women don't stick together. But what I also need for Black women to understand is that there's nothing wrong with standing alone.
that.
Sometimes the season of your life will require you to stand alone. We take separation too personally. We take, maybe the backstab was the Lord allowing the enemy in just a little bit because the season was up and he knew neither one of y'all was going to do it.
Or how about the fact that you just got way too comfortable to be able to discern it for yourself?
How about you
How
didn't
about
set no
that?
boundaries? How about you didn't set no boundaries?
How about that?
Yeah.
How about the fact that you need to own your stuff and
Yeah.
realize the fact that Dr. So-and-so didn't do it to me.
Yeah.
I did it to me. How about that?
Uh-oh.
How about that? Let's I want you to own the fact that everybody is not coming for you, sis. Dr. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so or Caitlin or Juwan or whoever is not checking for you. You put yourself in a position to be open enough to somebody who wasn't ready to receive you.
Ooh. Or I'm just gonna tell my business. I ain't gonna tell nobody else's. Now, or you didn't set the kind of boundaries that you need to set as a businesswoman. See, the thing is, you need validation. And so now everybody who wants to come and help, oh yeah, you let them in. Everybody who has a kind word to say, who says, you know what, God is doing this for you. You know, you called it this. Everybody who's speaking to the spaces where you lack confidence, you let them in. So you can't differentiate between a friend, an associate, a colleague, a coworker, a Facebook friend. You let anybody sit at your dinner table. Anybody. I'm just telling my business. I know y'all would never do this. I've done it so many times where I did not look at the person for who they were. I looked at them for who they were to me, or who I envisioned them as, or how I envisioned the relationship. Those thoughts and feelings should be reserved for my marriage. See, but we don't know how to differentiate between the pieces of us that need to be validated. So you'll allow a vendor to become an employee when it should have stayed 1099.
I got you.
You allow an executive to become your friend because they do wonderful work as a COO, or they do wonderful work as a CEO if you're looking to step out. And so not everybody got to be friends. So for those of us who
wait.
Wait. Go there.
So listen, let's start here first. Friends is people. Friends aren't your friends until y'all been through something. The Bible will say your friends are the ones who will lay down their life for you. So if such and such didn't lay down their life for you, or y'all ain't been through nothing, or you can't count on them, what are we talking about? Yeah. No, that's not your friend. That is someone you met. They are an associate, and it's like, we gonna be this. This is someone I know until ellipsis. Yeah. This is, I need us to be able to be clear about who we are. That's like what kids do. Yeah. When my daughter was little, she would be like, oh, Alisa is my friend. I'm like, no, she's not. You just know her. Yeah, you know her. Y'all just know her. You just know her. She's not your friend. She's not your friend. When I was little, my mama would say, girl, you ain't got no friend. Yeah. Why are you calling Now, I literally took that literally because, we come from a generation where our parents didn't explain stuff to us. Yeah, they just told us. They just we told had our us own stuff. Interpretations. Yeah. And it was hard for me. And I was like, and I got to high school, college, when you really start to formulate friendships and relationships that will last you a lifetime. Right? So now it's like, well, this can't be for real. I can't not have friends. Yeah. Because one hand can't clap alone. You're not meant to be an idol. An island, not an idol. Well, you're not supposed to be an idol either, but that's a whole nother conversation. You can't be an island out here in these streets. It was like an idol miner had you caught up. Yeah. Because now that becomes the devil's playground. Because now you're getting fed all these lies that's going to take you to a place. So now you have all these false misconceptions about who you're supposed to be. And it's like, wait a minute.
That part, when you said who you're supposed to be, what I realized that a lot of things that I was looking for in friendships prior to my marriage and relationships, even in jobs when I was in corporate, even sometimes in my business in the beginning, when I first started in 16, I realized I was looking for everything I couldn't admit to myself that I was. And so when you don't know who you are, you start looking for those things that you need in other people, not realize you have what you need in you. If you lack boldness, it's not that you need to start hanging around more bold people and so you can use theirs. No, you need to be around more bold people so you can find the boldness you already have. It's lying dormant in there. So you got to get around some people that's going to wake it up. If you don't have no confidence, you don't need a bunch of people just telling you, oh, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. Because you've heard that. You don't believe your mama. She's been telling you that since you was a newborn. And you don't believe that either. What you need is to be around confident people so you can see how confident people move. And it'll wake up the confidence that you have. And so when you talk about soul care, and I say that impacted me the way that you positioned it, because I believe that if you're a person who does not take care of yourself, it's because you're not around enough people that do. You don't know how to take a no. You don't know how somebody can say to you, my sister is 21 years old. She just turned 21. And since she was a teenager, she would tell me and my other sister, she's the baby, it's me, then the middle one, then her. She'll tell both of her big sisters, I ain't got time for that this weekend. I got this, I got this, I got this. No, I ain't gonna be able to do that. Now, if y'all have been doing it this week, oh yeah, baby sister in now. And she's still that way. She'll tell us in a minute, hey, y'all got 8 minutes. I gotta get back on this school. Y'all got 8 minutes. So anything that's important, go and tell me now. And if we were the type of women who operated like that, someone saying that to you and setting a boundary wouldn't offend you because you would understand because you have some too. So that I had to bring that up with the soul care. I had to.
Yeah, it's important. That's a whole part of the thing. So part of the soul care is having a community of like-minded people who will understand and love you through your stuff, who will rock with you and understand that, or will overstand the fact that you have things outside of them. Like, you are not my life.
Run that back. Would you say you are not my life?
You are not my life. I love you. I'll be with you. We can rock out. I have friends that I've had since the 7th grade, and I might talk to them once a year. But when we talk, it's we never ever miss a beat. Listen here, I might have only saw you on Facebook for one time. Only time I talked to you was on Facebook, but I ain't seen you since 91. But we still
tight.
We still tight. And I'm like, I don't have to talk to you every day. We good.
Right? I don't have to talk to you every day. The reason some people can't stand the silence. That's something I've always said. When you struggle to know exactly who you are and what you're willing to operate in and how you move in this season and what God wants you to do, when you struggle perpetually with that, it is a challenge to take the type of boundaries that you have to abide by that you also not willing to set. So if you have a boundary as Cryss Simmons that I have to abide by, like you don't have to text messages after 7 because that's what time your husband get home and you want to wife up. Okay. And so when you won't text me back and I got something that's an emergency for me and I'm texting you at 9 p.m. in a tizzy and you don't respond to the next day at 10 a.m., I'm only mad because I'm not confident enough in me to set that type of boundary in my life. I would never tell nobody, no, I don't move outside of that without concern for repercussion. And so if I'm offended by boundaries because I'm not willing to set one. Like the soul care messed me up. I've been talking about my husband about this all week.
Listen, it comes like at the end of the day, soul care is founded on the principles of stewardship. At the end of the day. At the end of the day, listen, I want to make sure that I take care of me. Not only do I want to take care of me, but I'm gifted to be here. Like I don't like in any given moment, it's a literal gift to breathe and have this moment. Because there are thousands, millions of people who did not wake up to
go there. We got to go there. It's so important for a person who may be saying, Cryss, I hear y'all. I get it. But I just do not know how to even get started taking care of myself in a way where I can even acknowledge soul care. What does that person start?
They need to realize that they are loved by God first. First. Not your mama, not your husband. That there is, if you don't have a salvation waiting for you, that he's the one waiting for you, because he can take you through all the things that you've missed. There's a wholeness that comes with that needs to be fulfilled in you. And even when you think you are fulfilled, there's another level, because the next level is the level.
Come on.
There's a thing, right? Like, I really, really want us to get there. Like, it's so important for me, like, that it comes with, there's a submission that comes in that. There's a stewardship that comes in that. There's a like
I get it so much. Here's the thing. I really get the people who are probably watching this and nodding. Like what you're describing right now. Sometimes you don't have an exact word, but sometimes what you are giving and what you are presenting, they feel it. Even through a screen, they feel it and they see it.
It's a restoration.
Ooh,
there's a restoration that waits for us when we become open to wanting to sit with ourselves.
He said there's a restoration. Got to get it right. There's a restoration. See, you got to understand what restoration is. Restoration is the ability to restore something. If something is restored, that means it was lost. So to be clear, there is a restoration coming when did you say make time to sit with yourself? That's so heavy. And the reason it's heavy is because I talk about sitting with something all the time. You got to sit with that. You got to sit with that. There's nothing you can do. You can never run away from yourself.
Listen, look. So in my former life, I still am, but in my former life, I used to sing with a jazz band, right? and when we would practice, our band leader would say, perfect practice makes perfect. Right? So I'm like, all right, if perfect practice makes perfect, how do I do that? Because I feel like as a human, I'm going to always not get it right. I may sometimes be pitchy. I may sometimes, start off in the wrong key. I'm human. I don't know how else to do that. And he was like, well, we're going to start you. This is what you're going to do. I want you to stand in the mirror and sing to yourself. Because if you can sing to yourself when nobody's watching, then guess what's going to happen? You'll reflect that same energy on stage. That applies to your prayer life. That applies to your worship with God. So listen, if you can find yourself, like, look, if you can pray, meditate, love on people with an affinity for who God is in your life, that will be reflected as your lifestyle. Because I think that's where people get God in church messed up.
Yeah.
It's a relationship. It's a lifestyle. It is not a thing to do. It's not religion. It's a relationship. And people want to tend to get it twisted when it's time to put yourself in a position where you can give back.
Yeah.
It's all about service.
Yeah.
And I intentionally want to service me. I intentionally want to service me with my mindset being with God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit at the center. He is my core.
Yeah.
Once we operate there.
This is so good, because when you talk about serving yourself, I really want people to catch that, even from a rich Black woman mindset perspective, because we have this idea that God desires for us to be this selfless people that just never thinks about ourselves ever. But the Bible says a person that don't take care of his own house is worse than an infidel. I talk about that all the time. We think about the household when we want to get churchy, but really this is the first house right here. How do I show up as a fantastic wife when my head is not clear? How do I show up as a fantastic mom or coach or speaker or influencer when my head is not clear, or when I'm not feeling well and I haven't had any rest? That does not make sense to serve somebody from my space of mediocrity.
That part.
So making you all these promises and saying you can have all this success, or trying to teach my kids to be great, I can never actually do that from a space of mediocrity. If I'm not to my highest level, if I'm not to my space where I'm at my best, I'm likely operating in mediocrity. If I ain't had no rest, if I'm working 80 hours a week consistently, I understand grind seasons. I don't understand a grinding lifestyle.
Correct.
So when we are not making the type of moves to take care of ourselves internally and externally, I don't think we have the capability to have soul care. I don't think we have the capability to be a rich Black woman, regardless of how many church services we attend, regardless of how many places we volunteer, regardless of how much money we make. Because the truth be told, a lot of us spend so much time at church, volunteering, in the business, and everywhere else, so that we don't have to go home and deal with ourselves and our stuff.
Back that up. People spend a lot of time in church because they think that that's an issue. They think that's it. It's a fix. They not dealing with their stuff. Church is a fix. It's a hospital. People go to the building to be like, all right, I'm gonna go get some of this good music today, but I ain't hear nothing the pastor said.
Yeah, shoot me up right quick.
Yeah, let me get that, and then I'll come back and I'll holler at you.
But it shows up in our businesses too.
It
because
does.
We don't do nothing that our coach said, and we just go pay the next one, and hopefully we'll just be them, and we'll be like them, and we'll have the lifestyle. We're not gonna do nothing they say now.
Yo, don't be Allen Iverson in your life. That joker didn't like to come to practice.
Nah, he didn't.
Where is he today?
We talking about practice? We talking practice? That interview is still one of the top 5 interviews in the world.
Yo,
talking practice? Yes, we are talking about practice. What I realize is that showing up in the spaces that don't require the glam is a heart posture. That is a heart posture. Showing up in the places, let me really help y'all. Because I know people that love to be on the scene, but behind the scenes, they don't want to do no work. I know people that want to pull up when it's time to get dressed and trying to get time to get the brows done, but when it's time to be in the trenches, they complaining the whole time. So a lot of y'all live for the action.
You know how many people you know how many times I sent people home? Because I was like, dude, you are a cancer right now. You are literally taking up space. You know, that somebody could probably want to be here and you don't. Like, you know, I have sent people home because you are in a position causing conflict and you don't even realize you're doing it. You can go home today. Oh, I can go home today? Yes, make sure you get some rest.
Please take the day.
Please take the day. Please take the
day. You know, and I think that's necessary. And one of the things we have to understand is not only do we need to take our days, we need to set a standard of taking the day, right? One of the things my mama taught me, I want to be very clear about the difference between a standard and an expectation. Okay. An expectation is something that you should expect based on what a person has shown you about their character and their behaviors. A standard is something that you require, and you are not going to move from that because that is your standard. That is what happens is, instead of setting proper standards, which you need boundaries to do, you need communication, you need honesty within self to do. If you do not set the proper standard, you'll find yourself setting more expectations. And my mama taught me that you never change your standard when it's not met. You just remove the expectation. And so when somebody does not meet your expectation, you get clear with them about that. But you also have to have a set of standards that are clear as well, so that when they don't meet that expectation, they can see why.
Listen, I've been married 17 years. Okay. And I will kindly say, babe, I'm gonna release you from that today because it's stressing me out. And I'm gonna alleviate the stress for me. I'm gonna release you from that. If I can release you from it, I don't have to worry about it getting done. I don't have the expectation if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if it does happen, thank you.
Yeah. I love that.
It's not, I will release anybody at any given moment.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Right into their next opportunity.
Listen here, you're not about to raise my blood pressure. Mm-mm. You're not about to give me no heart attack. Mm-mm. I'm not waking up with any migraines. Mm-mm. You can go. Mm-mm. You can go.
Yeah, immediately. Here's the thing. I don't mind leaving a room. I have learned that not only do I not mind leaving a room, there's nothing wrong with leaving a room. So I don't owe you nothing. The beautiful thing is you don't owe me nothing either. And so there's a couple of things I'm not going to let you disrupt. My peace, joy, and abundance. In order for me to make sure that my peace, my joy, and abundance is intact, that means I have to have wonderful stewardship. Because you say stewardship, you get me excited. It's one of my favorite words. Now, in order to keep my peace, joy, and abundance intact, my standard refuses for me to allow you to disrupt my time, my money, or my energy. Those are the three things I have to have intact to ensure that peace, joy, and abundance, I'm good.
Amen to that. Like, listen.
This was such a blessing so far. Before we wrap, can you tell the people what being a rich Black woman means to you?
Being a rich Black woman is the ability to encompass all the things that are set for me. I want to be able to see clearly. It provides opportunity for me to see clearly enough to walk in my purpose, to be able to ensue the impact that I was called to create, right? And it just gives me more, it provides me with opportunity to sit in spaces like this with beautiful people like you, that allows me to be able to share with these wonderful people watching and who will watch later. Like, it's like these are opportunities that don't always open. Yeah. Right. So I feel like I sit in a posture, right, that I have a position that I'm able to say, here I am. I'm not afraid to be here. I own what it looks like to sit here. I'm thankful for what I've been through. Mm-hmm. I'm not ashamed of where I come from. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to just open myself and be shared. Y'all, I'm so sorry about the landscaper outside. It's crazy.
Like, excuse me, landscaping. I'm sorry about the landscaper outside. I apologize about our landscaping. Sorry. I love it. Rich Black woman energy. I love it. The people need to hear some. You know what? Shout out to somebody that's believing God to build their house. I know what it's like to buy, and this could be prophetically. I know what it's like to buy, but you waiting to build. Maybe that person needed to hear landscaping, needed to hear a Black woman say, excuse the landscaper. You know, come on, mindset. Sorry. Let's elevate some mindset.
Listen.
No apology needed. And for those who don't know you so well, Cryss, how can they stay in contact with you?
Well, listen here. I'm never really on my personal page, y'all, but y'all can follow me there. I do tap in every once in a while, but I always tap in here at Landmax Honey on our Instagram page, right? You can also check out our website because we have some really wonderful things going over there aside from our products, but we have some really in-depth things like our blog is there. And then we have our true statements and our I am statements and our values about who we are, what we do, and how you can stay connected. And that's landmanhoney.com. And we also have our Facebook group community that we are building called the Soul Care Society. So we are so excited about that. So if you can't find it, DM me. I'll send you an invite. So we can do that. But yeah, the Soul Care Society is lit. It's about to be the thing. So
yes, I love it. I'm so excited for you. And those of you who are still with us as we wrap, we do have a couple of things coming up. Those of you on Instagram, we are going to say goodbye to Cryss. She's going to hang out with me behind the scenes a little bit because, you know, we got to chop it up when we get done. So we'll be sure that you all get the link to this after it goes live on YouTube. And so otherwise, we have a lot coming to Rich Black Woman TV. Some of you may have noticed a few edits even on my actual page. I'm Felicia Kelly, or the Felicia Kelly, because I made some changes, made some massive changes. We're going to be here every Thursday live at 1 p.m. We have some more powerhouse women coming to connect with us. And so definitely be on the lookout for that. I am launching my Instagram subscription right on Rich Black Woman TV. So you all will see more from that, where you can get exclusive content, where I'll be sharing more Rich Black Woman principles and things that we can do when it comes to our time, money, and energy, giving you all some tips and strategies that have worked for me over the years, that have continued to work for me, even as I decided to reinvent myself, even as I made shifts, even as I shut a business down and transitioned into another pivot, right? Be okay with making a pivot. Be okay with making a change. Be okay with reinventing yourself, because last season's assignment is not this season's assignment. So if you're a woman who's saying, Fee, I need someone to help me really navigate this journey. I'm trying to understand where I'm going. I need some clarity. I need a plan with time, money, or energy. Then reach out to me, and our team will point you in the right direction. So otherwise, this will be up on YouTube within the week. Our one from last week just went up, so we'll be posting one at the top of posting this one at the top of next week. You can follow YouTube and Instagram at Rich Black Woman TV. You can also follow me on TikTok at The Rich Black Woman. If you are looking for a dynamic speaker to come to your city, reach out to me. I have a few signature talks I can bring, workshops, things of that nature. And if you're looking for an influencer to work with a dynamic voice who understands selling and business, then you can reach out to me as well. Otherwise, we will see y'all soon. Bye now.